Welcome! We're back with the fortnightly format here for Minidisc Monday and edition number 21, and today I'm going to show you and review my second most valuable Minidisc in my collection, the first one being the Stone Roses self-titled debut, which I covered a few episodes back. But this one, well, when it came out, it was an absolute smash hit. Number one here in the UK and in the US as well, and no doubt numerous other countries. It started a phenomenon. I, of course, am talking about the debut studio album Spice from Spice Girls.
Candlelight and so forever, a dream of you and me together. Say you believe it, say you believe it. Free your mind about danger. Be for real, don't be a stranger. We can achieve it, we can achieve it. Come a little bit closer, baby. Get it on, 'cause tonight is the night when two become one. I need some love like I never needed love before. Wanna make love to you, baby. I had a little love, now I'm back for more. Wanna make love to you, baby. Set your spirit free, it's the only way to be.
I've just finished listening to this again for the first time in many years, and I'll give you my thoughts on the tracks shortly. What can I say? Spice Girls 1996 Wannabe came out, seemingly out of nowhere. 7 weeks atop the UK singles chart. An album was soon to follow. Here is the album in question, of course. Condition wise, the front of the case is cracked quite a bit, but amazingly it isn't off its hinges. A little look at the disc itself, as we always do. There's the rather minimalist, for the time, Spice Girls Spice artwork there, and we've got the track listing on the back and relatively little else really, a barcode number, the Virgin logo, etc. And onto the booklet. The booklet's nice actually. It's perhaps not as glossy as it probably would have been all these years ago, but a lot in it really, very colourful. Got lyrics for all the tracks and some nice high-res photos. There's Victoria. It's also got facsimiles of their signatures as well. So yeah, nice little booklet with this. Certainly cramming it full here. Production stuff near the back. A few more sort of promotional images there of each group member. So, after hearing this album again after all these years, what did I think of it? First and foremost, I can't remember what I paid for this, as is the case with pretty much all my mini discs, but it's so many years ago. I've got the feeling this was either the second or the third studio album that I needed. But we'll go through the tracks. Of course, track number one, Wannabe. What started it all? Massive. At the time when it came out, I mean, I was 15 or just turning 16. In fact, yeah, I think I had just turned 16, as I think Wannabe didn't get in the chart until after I'd finished my GCSE exams, and I had my last exam the day before my 16th birthday. I didn't really like it at the time. It has grown on me. It's just one of those infectious pop songs. You know, there's no sort of high art to it, obviously, but it really captures a moment in time. I mean, Britpop, as in indie pop, with a very sort of nationalistic sheen to it, was obviously a big thing and had been for the past couple of years or more by this point. And obviously this doesn't sort of tap into that in the respect of it being like an indie album, because it's not. It's the exact opposite. But with that sort of cool Britannia thing that was starting to build up with Oasis and Blur and all the rest of it, stuff like Wannabe and this album, it came out at the perfect time really. Track 2, Say You'll Be There, the follow-up single, another number one hit of course for the girls. I think the Spice Girls, or their management, their producers, pitched the singles perfectly from this album. I really do. They chose spot on in what to release. I mean, all of them got to number one, as they were likely to do, given that they'd suddenly, overnight really, become the biggest group in the world. Track 3, always been one that I've really liked, Two Become One. Say You'll Be There, by the way, is okay. I never really loved it, but I can see why they released it as a single. Two Become One, I do like that, I've always liked that. It was a Christmas #1 in 1996. Then we go to track 4, Love Thing. Now this is where this album kind of falls down for me overall, is that there's a bit too much of them riffing on kind of American girl group R&B sort of stuff. I get why it happened, you know, they recorded this album, obviously, they had no idea exactly how big they were going to make it. So while you think of the Spice Girls and you think, oh, they're a British icon, you know, this album is very American sounding for a lot of its contents, really. And I've not listened to Spice World, the second album, for many years either, but it will get reviewed for Minidisc Monday eventually. I get the feeling they kind of more settled into that whole girl power branding by then, and they're kind of a lot more comfortable with the more British-centric kind of vibe to their whole aesthetic by Spice World, whereas this, they feel a lot of the time that they're just copying American girl bands of the time, your TLC, your En Vogue, etc. Speaking of which, Last Time Lover, track 5, that's quite a TLC rip-off, but I did like it a lot better than Love Thing, to be honest. So I thought that was one of the stronger non-single tracks from the album. We get back to the singles for track 6, and I think this is my favourite on the album and one of my favourite Spice Girls songs of all time, Mama. Of course, an ode to the girls' mothers. It was the 4th single released as part of a double A side, and of course was also a #1. Track 7, Who Do You Think You Are? That was the other half of the double A side with Mama, like an updated version of a 70s disco track, and 70s disco has never been my favourite genre, but it's done well, it's produced well, it's a lot of fun, it's high energy, it's uplifting. Then track 8 is Something Kind of Funny. There again, we're getting back to the sort of R&B really, and I think you can say that about the rest of the album. It's not a very long album, this, by the way, about 40 minutes, just over in its entirety. Penultimate track is Naked, a sort of sultry sort of effort, as you would expect with that kind of title. None of the girls' voices are blowing me away particularly here, but Naked was a decent enough track. It's an album that, if you're a preteen girl in the 1990s, which, believe it or not, I wasn't, this is an album that's going to be a lot of fun, but I really think, you know, they were hedging the bets with it really and sort of making it a bit too American sounding for the most part. And the final track is If You Can't Dance, which features some slightly ropey Mel B rapping and a very catchy horn riff throughout. And a good track, to be honest, a decent way to close it. There again, they kind of copying TLC, who were obviously massive, particularly in their native America at the time. So overall, it's an album that's a bit like sort of eating a bowl of Rice Krispies really. You listen to it and then it's over, it's like, I don't feel satisfied really, but that's kind of the point of it. It introduced the Spice Girls to the international stage. It's fine for what it is. It's not my scene overall, but I think the singles on it are all ranging from good to excellent. Spice Girls and Spice is a very mild recommendation. The Minidisc is bloody expensive. You saw the current value of it earlier on, but it's been reissued vinyl, CD, digitally numerous times in more recent years. So that was the Spice Girls, their debut album Spice, and of course I will look at the other 2 Spice Girls studio albums, as I do have them on MD at some point in the future in this series. But thank you for watching this one. Hope you enjoy the slightly rejigged format of Minidisc Monday, where I give a little bit more information on screen. Special thanks go to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now, and please will you join me again in 2 weeks' time for my next look at a Minidisc in my collection on Minidisc Monday. Cheers everyone. See ya!